Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another episode of The Math Behind the Modules. Hello out there. Hello, this is Lesson 13, Properties of Similarity Transformations. More transformations. Example 1, Similarity Transformation G consists of a rotation about a point P, 90 degrees, followed by a dilation centered at P with a scale factor of R equals 2, and then reflecting across line L. Find the image of the new triangle. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is rotate this bad boy 90 degrees. So if our center of rotation is P, then we put the crosshairs of our protractor on P. Line up your 0 line on your protractor right here with B, and then put a dot up here to mark 90 degrees. Right there, a little bit to the left of that, right there. There is 90 degrees just on the left edge of that dot. Okay, so then I draw segments. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is draw a segment or a line extending through my point P, through B and C, like so. And let me pronounce those a little bit better. There's B and there's C. Rotate my ruler and then line up point P with that line I just created, or that point I mean, right there at 90 degrees. So this is a right angle. So B will be somewhere on this line, and so will C, because they're both on that horizontal of the protractor. So now what I need to do, I'm going to use my compass rather than measure. There's other ways we can do these things. There's always different ways. I'm going to put my compass right on P. I'm going to open it up, and there's my radius B. Rotate around and put an arc and put a dot right here. That is my B. Let me rotate this back. Open it up to C, put a mark, that's my C, rotate it around, there's my C right here, my image of B and C. So I'm just going to call that B sub 1 and this C sub 1. So now we have rotated, the base of that triangle is B1, C1, which is right here. Now I need to do the same with A. So I put my protractor back at 0, rotate this so my 0 line is on this line here to A. Where's A? Where's 0? Right there. See how that 0 line on my protractor is going right through point A, which is right there. And then that will give me a 90-degree angle over here somewhere. Move my protractor, bring my ruler over. Rotate it so it's going through that. So I draw a line, I'll use green this time. I'll draw a line or ray from P through that. So that is a 90-degree angle. I didn't draw the other one though, I should have. Let me show that. So if I drew a line, so you don't confuse our reflection line of our third step with our 90-degree angle. The 90-degree angle is with A. So this is the 90-degree angle I just created, that green one. And I should make this red. So this red angle is 90 degrees about P with B and C on this ray and B1, C1 on this ray. And then I made this right angle of the green one where it's going through point A. So now all I have to do is take my compass, put it at P, rotate it. Let's use purple this time. Open it up to A, rotate it around, and that would be right here. So the intersection of that arc and my 90-degree angle, the ray from that leg of the 90-degree angle, is my A1. So then I take my ruler and I connect. So I will make this black, so I'm not confusing it with my angle rays. I'll make it black and I'll draw a segment A1, B1. I'll rotate over to C1, and that will be segment A1, C1. And then finally, put it here and make a segment B1, C1. So there is triangle ABC rotated 90 degrees. Step one. Okay, so rotated about point P by 90 degrees, check. Followed by a dilation centered at P with a scale factor of R equals 2. So we're going to make this bigger. So then I am going to just take my ruler and put it on my point of dilation, which is also the point of rotation. Like so. Is that 0? So this distance from P to A1 is 5.5. 5.5 times 2 is 11. So I'm going to be right there. So now A2 is here. All right. And then I'm going to put my ruler back, rotate it, and do the same for A or B1 and C1. So put that right at 0, like so. B is 3.2, B1 is 3.2. So from P to B1 is 3.2 centimeters. So double that, scale factor of 2. 3.2 times 2 is 6.4. So my B2 is going to be right here. And my C1 is 5.5, which would be times 2 is 11, which would be right here. So this is my C2. Okay, so put my ruler back. And this time I have to choose a different color. I don't want it to get too confusing. Let's use orange this time. So here's my C2, B2 line segment, side of my triangle. I rotate this over to A sub 2. Whoops. Help if I was on A sub 2. There we go. And there's my B sub 2, A sub 2 segment. And finally, rotating. And my last side. So I'm just trying to be accurate here. And there we have it. So step 1, rotated this to 90 degrees. There's my A sub 1, B sub 1, C sub 1 image. Image 2 is A sub 2, B sub 2, C sub 2, which is this triangle that is scaled up by a factor of 2. And finally, we have to reflect it across line L. So now I have to reflect this orange triangle over here somewhere. So to do a reflection, all I have to do is, let's get rid of this here. We're reflecting across L. So I need a perpendicular going through a point. Okay, I'm getting a little worried here. And the reason is I'm using an electronic compass and I am not positive that it's going to fit. And here's what I mean. I need to take The furthest one is A. And just what I thought. I cannot extend my compass far enough to make an arc with two intersections from A sub 2. And if I bring this over to C sub 2, I have just enough. So I'm going to show you the process on C and B, but I won't be able to do A. So there's an arc there, and I will have to extend my green line. Rotate this around this way, put this here. And let's make it green and make it a little bit longer. And it's off a little, but close enough. So now we have this point here and this point here. And we take our compass and we put it at those intersection points, right? I think. And then I need to close this up a little bit, rotate it. And let's see, let's go out beyond B somewhere. And I will use, oh, I don't know, using all the colors of the rainbow here, how about purple? And I'll make an arc here, rotate it around and make an arc over here. Move the compass to the other intersection point without changing the radius, arc, rotate, arc. And I didn't make the other arc long enough, so I have to go back. Okay, so right there. So then I have my ruler that I'm going to draw my perpendicular. And it should go through the point C2 as well. Okay, right about there. Let's use black again. So this is my perpendicular and it is going through C2, as you can see. And let me extend it further this way. Okay, so then I measure. That is 86 centimeters. So if I put the 86 right on my line of, oh, I didn't measure from the line, I measured from my green angle, 90 degrees. So put it right on L, and it is 79 millimeters, 7.9 centimeters. So if I put the 7.9 on L, which is right there, there's 80, there's 79. Then my 0 is right there. So that is C3. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that process 2 more times. So now I have to do B. So you put your protractor, or compass, I mean, let's turn it back to, I don't know, black, I guess. Put it right on B2. Not cooperating. There we go. Rotate it so it's not quite there. Right there. And am I crossing 2 times on the green? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to make an arc, or not green, I want L. So it crossed here. So that's why I'm off a little bit here. I used the green by mistake. I should have extended line L. So there's my intersection point there. And my other intersection point is here. So then I put my compass on B. Make an arc. Over to the other side. Make an arc. Move it over to here. Rotate. Make an arc. Rotate. Make an arc. It's actually the point B. And then I bring my ruler down and draw a segment from B2 down beyond like so. And this is where B3 is going to be, B sub 3. Now C sub 3 is not in the right location. I made a mistake, I will fix that. So let me go back. Let me get rid of all these arcs. Okay, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of C3. All right, let me redo. So the line they gave us isn't very long. We're supposed to reflect across line L, and I reflected across the green 90-degree angle. So I apologize for that. But let me extend line L is what I wanted to do. I want to reflect across L, not the green segment. So there it is. Repeating the process, you put your compass on the point you're reflecting. You open it so it's open beyond, so it intersects twice, like so. So it's going to cross there and there, line L. And then I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. And I'm going to put my compass here, come around, and then move it over to the other point of intersection from my first circle from C2, draw an arc, rotate around, draw an arc. So that is my true C3. Take my ruler. I'll put the 0 right on C3 so I can rotate it electronically, it matters. And there is my segment. And the distance from, I could have used my compass to do this if I didn't change the radius, couldn't I? That's okay. So now my C2 is 78. So then I move down and I've put 78 right on the line L, right about, that's 80, 79, 78 is right about there. And so my 0 is right here. So this is 78 millimeters from C2, and that's going to be my C3 right here. It's actually going to be right there. Okay. And as I said, my compass, unfortunately, will not open far enough to create point A3. So there's my B3, C3. All right, so I'm gonna just do this. This is just an estimate, by the way. My compass is not large enough for A2 to reach my line of reflection. So whoever drew this up did not draw it up for a smart notebook, that's for sure. So I'm just going to try to, well, actually it would be right on this line here. So I didn't need my compass. If you think about this, that is a right angle. Now I got to do it to this, to line L. I want to be perpendicular to L, not the green one. So where is that? Again, this is just an estimate. It's not totally accurate. I'm just keep in mind that these three lines must be parallel. So let's try to make it look parallel. And then I will draw, I'll make it purple. I'll draw a line here that pretty much looks pretty parallel to the other two lines. And then how far was that? From 0 to L was 11 centimeters. So double that is 22. And that looks to be about here. Right there. Okay, so there is my A3. So then I put my ruler back and I draw segment B3, A3, right here. And then I move my ruler to C3 and rotate it to A3, and that is right there. Okay, so here's the original triangle, rotated 90 degrees, dilated up to by a scale factor of 2, reflected across L, and now it is down here, and that is A3, B3, C3 triangle. And that is the image. Whew, that was a lot of work. Okay, page 2 brings us to example 2. A similarity transformation G applied to this trapezoid here, ABCD, consists of a translation by a vector xy. So this is our vector, Victor, followed by a reflection across line M. So we're going to translate it and then reflect it, and then followed by a dilation centered at P with a scale factor of R equals 2. It says, recall that we can describe the same sequence using the following notation, blah, 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 which says dilation about center P, scale factor of 2. This means a reflection across line M of this, which is a translation vector xy of triangle, trapezoid ABCD. So just keep in mind, when we're doing these things, we work from the inside out. All right, so we're gonna fight our way out of a wet paper bag, if you will. So this is step 1. Why do I keep putting it there? Step 1 is to do the transformation of ABCD along vector XY. And to do that, we need a compass. So I get my compass and I put it at the initial end of the vector. I open it so that the radius is length XY. I then move it to point A and draw a circle. So there is a circle. Somewhere on this circle is the distance XY, everywhere on this circle from A, but we want the same direction as Y. So then I put my compass back at X. I line it up with point A, which is what we'll do first. And that would be, let me put that right on there and rotate. And that's probably the closest I can get right there. I move that to Y and draw a circle of the same radius XA down to Y, and I draw that there. That circle has created 2 intersections, right here and right here. One of them is where A prime is going to be. So then I get my ray tool, or I'd get my ruler if you were doing this. Let me do it the right way. Let me get the ruler. You don't have ray tools. You have rulers on paper. And you put your ruler on B. And you have to decide, well, if I draw my line from, not B, I'm sorry, from A over to here, is that parallel to XY? Is that going in the same direction? No, that's going way up this way where XY is going over this way. We want to be parallel to XY, so it must be this point. So I draw, let me make sure this is accurate, a segment, or a ray, I should say. Let's do a ray. And I'll make it red. And I start at A, and I draw it to here. All right. So there is my ray, A prime. So here is my A prime. Okay, so just to avoid confusion, I'm now going to get these circles out of the way. And that point out of the way. So there is my vector A prime. So we're going to repeat that process. This time, we'll continue using red since I erased. Put the compass back at X. Open it up, radius XY. Move it to B now. We'll draw a circle around B. like so. So every point on this circle is the distance B is from the other end, B prime, which would be the same as X, Y. So once I do that, I then need to draw a circle, distance, centered, or a circle with X. It's almost the same. So if I open this to XB and then bring this over, unfortunately, they've chosen a vector that will map B almost anywhere because this is going to give us the same circle. So I'm going to skip that for now, but B, so here's how I'm going to do B. I'm going to copy this. Obviously, you can't do this in the real world. Copy, paste, and I'm going to move this down to B, which is right there. So now that is B. Unfortunately, this is how this ended up. It is a bad example. So there's B prime. Okay, so let's get rid of this circle. We're going to repeat now. Let's put our stylus back at X. Turn this red. It's already length XY, as you can see. Now we'll do C. Okay. C's right here. Draw a circle. Then we put our compass back at X, and we want the radius to be from X to C, like so. And then you put your circle or your compass stylus at C and draw a circle. Uh-oh, that didn't work. One moment. Okay, I keep making this mistake, and that's probably why that last circle didn't work. Step 1, make this radius XY, draw your circle at the center where we're going to do it, which I did, XC to C. All right, so let me repeat this. Put your compass on X, radius XY, bring it to C, draw a circle. Then put your compass on X, opened up to C, radius XC, but then move it to Y. That's where I made a mistake, okay? And then draw a, Control Z, draw a circle there. Where it intersects is where the ray will go to put C prime. So as you can see, get it? See, as you can see, C prime is going to be right there. So then I'll put a dot here. It's off by a little, but you get the idea. And that will be C prime. Okay, so then I'm going to erase these circles. Delete, delete. I'm going to put my compass on X, rotate it up, open it radius Y, XY. Let's make it red again. Move that to D, draw a circle centered at D, radius XY. Then put the compass on X, rotate it, find the radius from X to D of a circle from X to D, move that to Y, and draw your circle. The intersection point will bring you from D to D prime. So here's D going up to this intersection point here. It's off a little bit, but D prime would be right about there. So there's D prime. So now if I draw all of these sides, and let's do it in black. There's AB, A prime, B prime, I should say. There's C prime, D prime. There's D prime A. Went a little too far with that. And then finally, rotate this around and line up C and B. C prime, B prime is this side here. All right, let me erase my constructions, including the rays now. Okay, so we have just translated trapezoid ABCD, a distance and a direction of ray XY, or vector XY, to trapezoid A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. And that was this middle piece here. So now I'm going to move this out here, and now we're going to reflect across M our translated image. And that's what this notation is telling us to do. Okay. So then I'm going to reflect everything across line M. All right. So we change colors. Put your compass at A prime. In order to reflect, we need bisectors. Not bisectors, but perpendicular segments. Okay. So my compass is at A prime. It's going to cross here twice. So it's going to cross like so. Then you move your compass to one point of intersection. It's open more than halfway to the other intersection point. And there's A. It's radius A. So it's going to arc right there. And then if we do it down here, we're going to put an arc somewhere over here. Move your compass to the other intersection point. Draw the same arc here. Bring it over here. Draw the same arc. Bring your ruler down. Rotate it. Here is your perpendicular that goes to the other end. And the distance should be the same the way I did it. So now this is reflected across. There's going to be a double prime. All right. All right, so I'm going to erase those because I don't want this getting all cluttered up. That's why making small arcs is the best, because you're not going to erase your paper every single time you do this. Okay, so then I'm going to take my compass, I'm going to put it at B prime. Rotate it around, shorten it up. Let's make it green again. Draw an arc so that it intersects at two places on that line. Put your compass at intersection, first point of intersection. And if you don't change your compass, you're at radius B prime. Let me open it a little. So that's going through B prime. And then I want to bring it around the other side. And right here. Move to the other intersection point. Rotate this around. And we want to make an arc here, like so. All right, let me put this back. I didn't make that first arc long enough. That sometimes will happen. Draw the arc so it intersects. Okay, take my ruler, line it up. Here is my segment that goes from one side to the other. And this point right here will end up being B double prime. All right. I'm going to delete this. Careful what I delete. I'm trying to get rid of all of my construction points. Okay. So this is C prime right there. B double prime is right here. What is this point here? That's supposed to be right there. Okay. All right, there's B double prime. We're now going to put our compass at C. Make it green. I'm going to close it a little so my arc's not so big. So I want to make sure I cross the line at 2 places. So it's crossing here, and then I come over to the other side, and it's crossing here. Then you put your compass at that one point of intersection. Draw an arc, bring it over to the other side, draw an arc, move it to your other point of intersection, draw an arc, bring it around to this side, draw an arc. Bring my ruler over. Where those 2 arcs intersect is going to give me the distance, equidistance both sides, and the new endpoint at the other end right here will be C double prime. That's right here. All right, and then I delete my construction. Whoops, wrong thing. Delete, delete. I got lucky there, and delete. Okay, so here's B double prime, A double prime is here, C double prime is here, and now we just need to do D. This is very time consuming, as you can see. And then I'm going to draw a circle. Notice the radius is too short, not big enough of a circle to cross this segment at 2 places. Line M has to be crossed twice. Put your compass at one intersection point. It should go through D, just like that, because I never adjusted it. The other side will be over here somewhere. Move it to the other intersection point. Draw an arc. Oops. Rotate it around. Draw an arc. It should be right on D. And then put my ruler at D. Draw a segment D prime down to the other intersection, and that will be D double prime right here. So that's D double prime. All right, so now I'm going to draw my sides. I'll use a different color than black so it's not overlapping and confusing. Okay, let's use green since I used. So now I want to connect all the prime points. So let's do D prime, A prime. And then A prime, B prime. And then D prime, C prime. So I'm off a little here because they should be parallel. And obviously they're not if I'm rotating my ruler. Okay, and then finally B prime, C prime like so. Okay, so there's a reflection. It's not the prettiest, but there's the reflection. A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, D double prime reflected. Okay, that's our image of our prime translated trapezoid. All right, so now I want to dilate that by a scale factor of 2 from center P. So in order to do that, and that's what this says here, dilate about P, where R is 2. So I'm going to put my ruler on P, going through D. It looks like it's going to go through D and A. So I'll use red for this, and it goes through like that. Rotate it so it goes through B. Rotate it so it goes through C prime. All right, so there are our rays. So when we do a 2, scale factor of 2, I prefer using the compass over anything because you're just doubling the radius. So if I open my rule or compass up, I'm going to put it on this ray here, open it up to D prime, then I just have to move it over to here and duplicate that radius because that'd be the second radius. So that point right here is D triple prime. And then I'm going to put the compass back at P, put it back on that first ray because A is also right here. Move the compass with the radius of P A double prime, make an arc, and that point will be A triple prime. Okay, let me get this out of here. Then I put my compass back on P, rotate it so my pencil's on the red ray going out to B prime, double prime. So there is a radius P, B double prime. Duplicating that will be a times 2. Make an arc, and that is where my B triple prime is going to be. Okay, and then I put my compass back at P, rotate it so the pencil's lined up with the ray that goes through C double prime, close it to the radius of C double prime. So if I rotate it, I'm right there. To duplicate it, you just move the compass up and make a mark. Okay, this point right here is going to be C triple prime. So then I get my ruler. Let me erase these rays. And I'm going to draw segment D double prime, A double prime, rotate, line my ruler up with D and C double prime, line my ruler up, see how that's off a little bit, it should be parallel. So I'm going to just cut in between, be to the right of one on one side, be to the left of the other on the other side, because I know they should be parallel. And then finally line up. B double prime, come on, with C double prime. And there is trapezoid A, B, C, D, translated, reflected, and dilated. And there is my transformation G. Whew. Okay, page 3, exercise 1, a similarity transformation for a triangle DEF is described by R sub n. R sub n. What does R sub n mean? A reflection across n. So the lowercase r is reflection, remember? And an uppercase r is rotation. Don't confuse the two. So R sub n. So if you look at n, it is a reflection across n, a dilation about a of scale factor of 1/2, and a rotation about a of a 90 degrees of triangle DEF. Now remember, when we're doing these, it's like fighting our way out of a wet paper sack. We have to work from the inside out. Alrighty, so first thing we're going to do is rotate 90 degrees about A, triangle DEF. 90 degrees is counterclockwise this way. So I'm going to get my protractor and I'm going to put it at A. See how the crosshairs line up with A right about there? No, come on. Right there, pretty close. Then I'm going to rotate it so that I'll do D first. And let's make my protractor bigger. How do I do that? All right, so I'm going to put this at A, crosshairs on A, rotate this so that the zero line, let's make it a little larger. See how that zero line is right on D? So 90 degrees, it would be right here, somewhere on this line here. How do I get rid of that? So I'm just going to put a dot, I'll use red, somewhere out here about 90 degrees. Why won't that work? Pen, red, and 90 degrees is somewhere out here. All right. So I'm going to draw a segment after. I'm going to rotate this now. And I'm going to line it up with F. Let me make it a little bit larger. I want to be able to see. This is pretty cool, isn't it? So there it is. Crosshairs on A. Point F is on the 0. So 90 is somewhere down here. So now that I've set that, I'm going to shrink it down. 90 for D, or F, I mean, is somewhere on this line. I'll make that green. So there's 90 on the green. And then I rotate it so that I'm drawing AE is 0, like so. AE are on the 0 line of my protractor. I'll shorten this so I'm not off this page. And somewhere along this line is 90 degrees. And that will be my location of E. So let me get this out of the way now. I'm going to get my ruler. And now I'm going to draw, just so you can see it. I'll do AD, then I'll do the others after erasing. So here is segment AD. If I rotate this and line it up with the red dot down here, that is 90 degrees, okay? The easiest way to draw this would be with a compass. So if I put the compass at my point of rotation and flip it around the other way, open it up radius D, and then come around here, where that intersects is where D is. So I'm going, or D prime. So this point right here is going to be D prime. Okay, then I'm going to erase these. And I'm going to repeat the process. I'm done with this segment or this point that just told me where my 90 degrees was. And then I'm going to put my ruler on F, rotate it up, try to be accurate as possible. Here is segment FA. Then if I rotate it and put my 0 here and rotate A to this point, let's make this a little longer. Like so. And that is a 90-degree angle. F is somewhere on this ray, and and it's going to be distance AF. Now, the only problem with this is my ruler, my compass, will not last. It did a split and it doesn't reach. So in that situation, I'm just simply going to measure how many millimeters it is from F to my point of rotation A, and it is 10 centimeters. So then I rotate my ruler, put my 0 right on A, line it up with that, and put a dot at 10. Right there. So this point right here will be F prime. Okay, and then I'm going to do it one more time. So let's get rid of these right angles. Don't need this. That should never have been there. Don't know what that is. Okay, so then I'm going to draw a right angle from A to E. This time I'll use blue. So here's AE. And then if I drew a right angle from A, it should go to this other dot I created with my protractor. Like so. So there's my right angle. This time I will be able to use my compass because E isn't further away than the length of the compass. And then I rotate this around until I get it to E. Right about there. And then rotate it around, and that's where it's going to end up at the point 7, 0. So let me erase my right angle and the arcs. Okay, so this is point E prime. So now all I have to do is create the triangle by connecting the dots. There's D prime F prime. Here's D prime E prime. And finally, F prime E prime. Okay, so there is a 90-degree rotation about A, forming triangle D prime, E prime, F prime. So this section is what we just did. We fought our way out of the wet paper bag, but we just found out we are now inside another bag. There were 2 layers. Oh no. Now I've got to do a dilation about A of 1/2. Okay, well, that's easy. And it's easier on paper than it is on computer, I'm almost certain. So what am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to draw rays. And I'm going to draw a ray. Let me just use segments because it's just easier. I will draw a ray from A through D and beyond. Not much beyond because our R is a 1/2, so we're not going beyond. We're making it smaller. It's going to be in here. I'm going to put my, let's see, put this back at 0, rotate it to F. I'm not quite at A. There we go. Rotate it to F like so, and draw another ray. So these are rays, by the way. And then I'm going to put my ruler back at A, rotate to E, and draw a ray, AE prime. So there is our dilation rays from A, 3 of them. So then I'm going to take my ruler and just measure them all. So if I just put this back and I want to use metric, so flip that over. Make sure A is right at 0. All right. And that is a distance of 30. Let's see, 30 what? 35 centimeters maybe? Half of 35 is 17.5. So halfway between A and E prime is 1.75, which is right here. So this will be E triple prime. All right, put this back at 0. Rotate to F. Measure the length of A, F prime, and it looks like it is 10. Halfway is 5, so that would be here. So that is going to be F double prime. And then put this back at A, rotate to D. We're on the home stretch here. This is 68. Half of 68 is 34, which is right here. And that is going to be D double prime. Now let me erase my rays. Connect the dots. And we have D double prime, E double prime. Isn't that double prime? F double prime. So we just did the dilation about A of a scale factor 1/2. And now we're finally working our way out. And now we're going to do the reflection across N. Whew, these are time consuming. All right, so I will choose blue. How do we do this? We have 3 points we have to put across a line. So you put your stylus on D double prime. You open your compass up so it's just a little more than the length distance from N so that it arcs and crosses in 2 locations. Put it at your 1 point of intersection. Rotate it around. It should be the same radius because I'm just moving the compass backwards or around the other way. So that's going through D. So over on the other side of this line will be D something. It's going to be flipped over here. And then move the compass to here. And notice that it's going to cross. I'm off. It's going to cross again at D or near it. Rotate it around and show where they're going to intersect. And then take your ruler and put your 0 there. Rotate it to there. And if I drew a segment from D to my other intersection point, the blue line is perpendicular to line N, and from here to here is the same length as here to here. And we just found D triple prime, which is right here. There's D triple prime. We're going to repeat that step 2 more times. So I'm going to get my compass. I'm going to put it at E this time. Use blue again. Draw an arc, crosses there and there. Move it over to the 1 intersection point. Draw an arc over on one side of N, and then on the other, right here, Move it to the other intersection point, which is here. Draw an arc. Swing it around. Draw an arc. Now we have 2 points. Like so. That one's off a little bit. It should be perpendicular, but somewhere it probably more to the right here. That right here will be right here, somewhere over here, because that's not quite perpendicular. You can tell by looking at it. I'm off just a smidge. That would be E triple prime. Okay, so let's erase our construction. Delete, 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 and delete. Finally, last step, we are going to do this one more time. We're going to put our compass on F. We're going to open our compass up so that it will cross N twice, here and here. Move the compass to the one intersection point, which is right here, and form an arc. Move it to the other intersection point, which is right here, and form an arc. Now, the reason I didn't form an arc down here is because I'm using the same radius as I did for F. And when I do that, this should line up like so. So that is perpendicular. The blue line's perpendicular to N. The segment from F double prime to N is equal to the point here on N to F triple prime, which is right here. Finally, I'm going to erase my construction marks. I'm going to put my ruler to work, and I'm going to connect these 3 dots. So E is here, going to D. Make it red. So there's segment ED. Here's segment EF. And then finally, can't get the right angle this time. Even more. All right, there we go. Okay, it's a little wacky, but there you have it. It's pretty close. So let's recap. This triangle, DEF, rotated 90 degrees, gave us D prime, E prime, F prime. Rotated 90 degrees about point A, that is. Then we dilated it down 1/2 about A, and got D double prime, E double prime, F double prime. And then we reflected across line N and got D triple prime, E triple prime, F triple prime right here. And there she goes. We're out of the wet bag. All right, page 4 brings us to the end of lesson 13. Review the lesson summary and go to your problems.